Mary Wilson, one of the original Supremes, has died. She was 76. Wilson's publicist says she died last night at her home in Nevada. No word yet on a cause. Wilson, Diana Ross, and Florence Ballard all, of course, made up the first configuration of the Supremes. Their first #1 song, Where Did Our Love Go?, came out back in 1964, and the rest is music history. She's remembered not only as part of the #1 female recording group of all time, but Mary Wilson was a shining star as well. As close friend Donna Lauren says, Mary's light shined strong.
Mary was a star in her own right. She was part of an ensemble, but she had an energy of her own.
All you gotta do is hold and kiss him and love him and show him that you care.
Donna, a performer in the 60s and the original Dr. Pepper girl, met Mary when she went on a 21-day Dick Clark Caravan of Stars tour with the Supremes, the group that became the most successful Motown act of the 60s and the best charting female group in U.S. history, signed by founder of the Motown record label, Berry Gordy.
I think Berry Gordy had a vision of broadening the scope, of reaching a wider audience.
Diana Ross, Florence Ballard, Betty McGlown, and Mary Wilson all found fame as the original Supremes, releasing a record-setting 12 #1 hit singles, including Baby Love and Stop in the Name of Love.
Stop in the name of love before you break my heart.
After the others left the group, Mary remained with the Supremes until 1977. She since continued to carry on the legacy of the iconic group because it wasn't just music these women gave all of us. Everything from their fashion to their confidence was barrier-breaking. Mary went on to be a New York Times best-selling author with the release of her first autobiography, Dream Girl, My Life as a Supreme. She also was a contestant on Dancing with the Stars last year. As the world learned of her passing, Hollywood paid tribute to the icon. The great Diana Ross said, in part, "I'm reminded that each day is a gift. I have so many wonderful memories of our time together." It was just in the last 5 years that Donna says she and Mary really developed a closer friendship, spending a lot of time together in both LA and Palm Springs. As we say goodbye to Mary, Donna thinks her legacy is just beginning.
Mary's star will shine evermore.
Through her music, her light will stay in our hearts. All right, we have our own fond memories of Mary here at Spectrum News 1 as well. I had the honor of getting to interview her last year about her book and her, of course, her run on Dancing with the Stars. Also, Melvin and the morning team even got to sing with the legend.
Come on, Melvin, stop. In the name of love. Before you break my heart.
Mary was also, of course, instrumental in lobbying for Congress for the passage of the Music Modernization Act, providing greater rights to songwriters and artists. Clearly, her impact was felt all over in the industry. With us now to reflect more on Mary Wilson's life and legacy is her longtime friend and publicist, Jay Schwartz. Jay, publicist doesn't do it justice. Even the word close friend, I know, doesn't do it justice, because you told me Mary called herself your big sister, right? Tell us about the Mary that you were privileged to know.
Oh, yeah. Mary, that's exactly what she called me. We met in a nightclub in New York City in 1982. And when I moved to California a few years later, I became her publicist. She was my first client and still is to this day my client. And there's a picture of the night we met. That was the night we met in 1982. We both looked a little different.
I know it's been a beautiful 39-year relationship that you've known her, and you said 3 years after you met, you became her publicist. Jay, when you look back, we know we for sure have so far to go, right, when it comes to gender and race equality. But when you look at the Supremes and what they did, breaking barriers with their fashion and their sparkle and their confidence, how do you think they contributed to getting us to where we are today?
Oh, they had a very big part in it. You know, there's always has to be something that clicks that'll change the fabric of our country. And I think the Supremes at that point in time, when they had their first #1 hit in 1964, Black people in America didn't really have, many rights. And I think the Supremes helped break the racial barrier. When they would perform down in the South, there'd be blacks on one side, whites on the other side. But when they started singing, the kids would just break down the ropes and everybody would be dancing together. So it's made a huge impact.
And she inspired, so many people. I know just with her confidence, even when we got a chance to have her on set here at Spectrum a year ago, I mean, she just exudes this love and this confidence. She did many things, Dancing with the Stars last year. I mean, how amazing. And she still always had a great relationship with Diana and the whole team, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The press over the years, and one of the things that I fought I fought two things. When we started working together, it was about making a name for Mary Wilson. And she's not just one of the girls, she was one of the Supremes. Well, who were the Supremes? The Supremes, to this day, is still the #1 female recording group of all time, according to Billboard magazine. Diana, Mary, and Flo met when they were 12, 13 years old. And, she would say, just like family, you don't get along with your sister or your brother. But when push comes to shove, at the end of the day, I got your back. And Mary and Diana, that was their relationship. Mary had unconditional love for Diana.
Something that is significant to point out before we go is you shared with me that she had heart disease, and I know it was very important to her for women to really take ownership of their health and to check themselves and to be their own advocate when it comes to their health. So in many ways, we know her legacy will live on. Jay, thank you so much for your time here talking to us this evening.
Thank you. I appreciate it.